Interior, they picked their own experts. We didn't pick the experts. The oil industry didn't pick the experts. They picked their own experts. Those experts said they didn't recommend a 6-month moratorium. Listen to what those experts said. Those experts said you can do drilling more safely. The fact the federal government can't do its job shouldn't cost thousands of Louisianians our job. What we're saying in Washington, D.C. is if you don't believe us, believe your own experts. You don't believe your own experts. 8 of those 15 experts, including those from the National Academy of Engineering, said the moratorium would actually make drilling less safe in the Gulf. They said there are steps you can take. There's not a man, woman, child here in this auditorium in the state of Louisiana that wants to see another drop of oil on our coast. We don't want to see another explosion. We don't want to see another tragedy. But we know there's steps that the federal government can do to make drilling more safe. We know the experts themselves say if you need additional equipment, put additional equipment. You need additional inspectors, put additional inspectors. You need to inspect the well pressures, inspect the well pressures. But don't put our people out of work with what the judges called it. Listen to what the judges called it. They said the moratorium was arbitrary and capricious. Arbitrary and capricious. We didn't just win once, we won twice in federal court. They went to an appellate court, we won again, they had a chance. Department of Interior, Washington, D.C. could have said, okay, we've lost not once, we've lost twice in federal court. Let's work with the state, let's work with local leaders to make sure drilling is done safely. Instead, they replaced one arbitrary and capricious one-size-fits-all moratorium. They doubled down. They gave us a second arbitrary and capricious one-size-fits-all moratorium that does nothing to make the Gulf safer. And here's what's so dangerous. The folks in Washington, they don't understand energy production. Here in Louisiana, we've been producing energy for the rest of the country for decades. Whether they know it or not, they need us to power their cars, their factories, and their homes. This moratorium does nothing to reduce our energy needs in this country. All this moratorium does is send more American dollars, more American jobs overseas, sometimes to countries that aren't even friendly to us. Somebody's got to explain to me. Somebody's got to explain to me how sending more dollars and more jobs overseas is good for America's economy, good for our security, good for the state of Louisiana, because I'm here to tell you it's not. This moratorium is bad for our security, bad for our economy. They don't get it in Washington, D.C. The President of the United States came down here and met with us in person. This is what he told us. He said this to me. He said, Governor, if people lose their jobs because of the moratorium, they can file a BP claim. I said, Mr. President, with all due respect, what if BP doesn't pay? He said, don't worry, Governor, they can file an unemployment claim. I said, with all due respect, Mr. President, our people don't want a BP check or an unemployment check. We want to go back to work. This isn't about these multi-billion-dollar multinational companies. They'll make their money. They'll go to those other countries. This is about Louisiana families, Louisiana workers. They don't understand in Washington, D.C. They literally said to us, the administration said to us, the rigs will just come back. The rigs will just come back. Like you can turn off and on a switch. They don't understand the pain we felt in the 80s. They don't understand once these rigs go, they're gone for years. We know at least of 2 rigs going to Africa. We know other rigs are already in negotiations. These rigs cost $500,000 a day. They're not going to wait. And once they sign multi-year contracts, those jobs are gone for years. The estimates are in Louisiana alone. We'll lose 20,000 jobs. Across the Gulf Coast, tens of thousands of additional jobs. That's why today is so important. We need our voices to be heard. We need them to understand if they hear nothing else from today. They need to hear us say this. Let us go back to work. We don't want a BP check. We don't want an unemployment check. We want to go back to work, powering the American economy.